welcome to Rogers Cattle Company. We're primarily a cow-calf operation, and we raise commercial cattle as well as red Angus and Sim Angus, both black and red Sim Angus seed stock, as well as commercial cattle. We offer bulls for sale to commercial outfits. Currently our bulls go to Red Hill Farms in Lafayette, Tennessee. We cooperate with them, and our bulls will appear in their bull sale in the spring of each year. We also sell quite a few commercial bred females to cattlemen. We have a lot of repeat customers. Also, of course, we sell most of our feeder calves. We'll sell them through order buyers here in the area, and we also direct market some finished beef through our freezer beef business that you'll hear about a little later. We also have diversified our operation and have grazed in the past meat goats, and we currently graze Katahdin hair sheep. I should tell you that we operate on 100% leased land, and we've done that since 2001. We're blessed to have a great relationship with our landlords. Just a little bit about our operation, the relative size of the operation and numbers. We actually operate on two farms. The farm that we're on now here in Roxboro, North Carolina, is approximately 300 acres of pasture land. And there's another farm just east of here in Oxford, North Carolina, that would be approximately 50 acres. So we have 350 acres, and it's all leased land, so we don't own any of the land that we operate on. We are primarily a fall calving cow-calf operation. We will calve out about 90 cows this fall. We also have a small number of black Angus cows that will mate to black Simmental bulls to produce Sim Angus hybrid. Yeah, this is probably our newest enterprise that we've added to our farm, and it's pasture-raised pork, or woodland pork, some people call it. I guess it's more woodland because they stay in the wooded areas of our farm for the most part. We also provide them, basically a corn and soybean meal-based ration, but we buy feeder pigs at somewhere between 50 and 100 pounds, and we take them up to somewhere between 3 and 350 pounds. Also on our farm, we maintain a flock of Katahdin hair sheep that we use to graze a solar farm that's located on this place. Our landlord on the farm that we lease, he built a solar farm on about 25 acres. And the preferred method of managing the vegetation under a solar farm is grazing it with sheep. So it worked out really good for us. Although we don't get to use that acreage for cattle grazing anymore, we do get to use it for free now because we have an agreement with the solar company to manage that vegetation. And this year we lambed out about 65 Katahdin ewes during April, and predominantly April and a part of May. And we'll wean those lambs this fall, and currently we're averaging somewhere around 150% lamb crop. So we'll have a nice crop of lambs for sale this fall. So as a cattle guy and a guy that loves cattle, it's really easy to admire the sheep for all the efficiencies that they do bring to the system. And we like them as part of our system. Even without the solar farm, we just think they bring tremendous advantage and diversity to our farm. We do calve in the fall. We started mid-September and go till about mid-December, and most of our calves are going to be born in that first 30 days. We do utilize a synchronized AI program where we'll basically use CEDARs, the 7-day CEDAR protocol. We'll detect heat for a couple of days, and then we'll mass breed everything that doesn't respond. And that has been very effective for us. And then of course about 2 weeks later we'll turn in cleanup bulls, and we'll rotate the bulls through the group of cows. We like to manage as large a herd as we can just for convenience as far as our strip grazing. So we've got a group of about 70 to 90 cows. That may load up one bull pretty good, but we'll leave one bull in for 30 to 45 days and then pull him out and pull another bull in. We do what we like to call adaptive grazing, and we define that as grazing that kind of fits the situation. We look at the forage, we look at the animal requirements, and then we also look at the people and what else they have going on and what their time constraints might be. So that means at any time of the year we may do a set stocking where we leave cattle on pasture for a set period of time. We may do mob grazing where we put a real high number, a lot of animal impact, a lot of animal density on a particular unit of land. And then we may do more of a traditional, rotational, or management intensive grazing through part of the year. We do like to move the animals daily. And when you get into the fall and winter time of the year, we like to extend the grazing season. We try to utilize stockpile fescue to a high degree, which offers our cattle excellent nutrition going into the winter and into the breeding season for our fall calving herd, as well as it will limit the number of days that we actually have to feed hay. We do not make any hay on our land. We do not operate our own hay equipment. So we buy all the hay that we need for our herd, so that means we don't want to buy very much. Really, it was out of necessity from the start, was because Sharon and I, we had enough money to lease this farm and to buy the cows that were on the farm, and I'm sure the bank would have probably loaned us more money to go out and buy hay equipment, but we really didn't want to be in the equipment business. We wanted to be in the cattle business and the grazing business. So we elected to just buy the hay we needed. We'll sample all of our hay so we know what the quality is, so we can allocate that hay to our animals based on the nutrient requirements of the cattle and the timing and what they need to meet our production goals. Okay, a little bit more about how we utilize stockpile fescue, especially during the winter time. We like to strip graze, and basically what that means is we'll start at the water source and we'll use polywire and move it either every 1 to 3 days, depending on, again, what the animals require, the weather, and what else is going on. So just for instance, if it's raining a lot, we like to move the cattle more frequently because they will trample and waste less. So if it's raining a lot or a lot of snow and ice, we will move the cattle daily. And actually we've started looking at wasted forage a little bit different. We actually want to leave some residue on the soil surface because we know that that's going to help feed the soil microbiology, and the soil microbes are going to help us grow better forage for our cattle in the future. We really like to utilize a lot of polywire and a lot of temporary fencing on our farm, and we think that it's just a great advantage that we have, and it allows us to control where the cattle graze and when they graze, and to control the intensity of which that they will impact the forage and the soil, and have a good way of dispensing the wire where it's really a quick and easy thing to do when we're going across big fields. It really doesn't take a lot of time to feed the cows. One thing we've done to take better care of our resources here at Rogers Cattle Company is work very closely with NRCS, Natural Resource Conservation Service, as well as Soil and Water, and we fenced out our creeks and our ponds and basically worked with the EQIP program, and we've now basically all the cattle will drink out of a well watering system. We've installed 9 waters throughout the farm, and many miles of fencing to subdivide some larger pastures, which allows us to both utilize the grasses that we grow to a higher degree, and it also allows us to do something that's very important, we think, and that's resting our grass between grazing events. To further diversify our grazing system, we have about 3 years ago we started planting summer annuals, and we'll follow on that same acreage with winter annuals for our herd. We found we did this for a couple of reasons. One was to kind of get our cattle off fescue during the summertime, and to offer our fall born calves a high quality pasture during the winter. So we were able to graze them on the winter annuals. We found this to also help us improve soil health. We can see some positive changes into the soil, and what we hope these annuals will do will smother some of the old stand fescue we have and some of the less desirable grasses, and then we can go into that land probably in another year or two and maybe introduce a native warm season grasses. So this is another summer annual field on our place, and this has our raised crazy mix from King Ag Seeds is actually what this is. And one thing we've become more aware of is as farmers and as ranchers is the importance of soil health to the overall profitability of our operation. So We've been using these annual forages to help us build soil health, to add diversity as far as plant type, and which would also add diversity to our microbial population into our soil. We want to see good soil structure and lots of smaller aggregates, and you can see a T-Raptor brassica. And again, this particular plant has a nice taproot on it, and again, that's going to help feed our soil microbiology and overall improve the soil health of our system. My wife and I both were pretty much in agreement on that. We felt like that we needed Angus cattle just from a carcass quality standpoint as well as some of the production traits. So we really liked the Angus breed, and we thought that the red hide had quite a bit of an advantage in terms of heat tolerance. But really, red Angus, we like them from a genetic standpoint. We like the fact that they have mandatory total herd reporting. So we think from a genetic standpoint, that gives us a much clearer picture of the cattle that we're selecting to utilize in our herd. Red Angus from a production standpoint, we really like the maternal traits. We've been able to find cattle that are very easy fleshing and easy keeping. We like cattle that are moderate framed and lots of rib and substance and capacity that can do a great job out on forage and the fescue-based pastures that we have. We also like red Angus for their disposition. We have very modest facilities, and I've already talked about we use a lot of polywire on our place, so we know that the cows are going to kind of stay where they're supposed to and be easy to handle. The red Angus cows are really good mothers, and we just think that they offer us an advantage. The way we market our cattle, the color of the hide really doesn't matter. We operate and sell our feeder calves through order buyers. If they know that they are Angus feeder calves, they don't give us a discount. Be our fall-born 2014 calf crop. These calves would have been weaned I guess in May. We would actually taken weaning weights a little bit earlier, probably in April, and then just put them back on the cows for another 30 days or so. We find that the calves continue to gain very well, and we can manage them with the cow herd as one grazing unit, and that just simplifies life for us. So you'd see a mix of steers and heifers in here. Most of these calves will be red Angus sired. There is some Simmental influence, both black and red Simmental, and basically we're growing them out now on just pasture. They'll probably graze some of our annual mixes here a little bit later when they get ready to graze. But for now, we're just managing them on our pasture with soy hulls and corn gluten.
I'm Sharon Rogers, the other half of Rogers Cattle Company. We have been selling our red Angus beef since 2007, and in the ensuing years we have also added pasture pork, and we also market some of our lambs through our freezer meats program.
Most of our calves over the years, the age that they're going to be harvested is somewhere between 18 and 24 months of age, and we try to have a harvest weight somewhere between 1,000 and 1,250 pounds, and that's going to vary quite a bit depending on the animal, depending just on the relative size. And the thing that you have to think about, we don't want all of our cattle finished on the same day. We're taking a fall-born calf crop that's born within 90 days, and really a little bit tighter than that because a lot of our calves are born toward the front end of that calving season. We're having to stretch that out over a 365-day meat supply. So we do what I call warehousing on the hoof quite a bit.
And to be able to resell our cuts to the public, we have to have our animals processed at a USDA inspected butcher shop. We have a good relationship with them, and currently we are selling your basic cuts for each of the species. We sell most of our meats through a local farmers market right outside of Hillsboro, North Carolina, as well as a market here in Roxboro.
This year my role has kind of changed on the farm as I've taken on a role at North Carolina State University as the Amazing Grazing Program Coordinator and the coordinator for a Conservation Innovation Grant Project. So this has given me the opportunity to pursue another passion I have, which is education. As part of the CIG project, we're going to be looking at ways to improve soil health in pasture-based livestock system and different principles and management strategies and methods that we could use. So part of that's going to be actually taking soil samples to get a baseline analysis of the soil health on the cooperating farms that we're working with. We're actually going to work with producers throughout the state of North Carolina as well as Georgia, because it is a two-state effort. And we're also going to work on the research farms here at North Carolina State University, as well as in partnership with the North Carolina Department of Agriculture. And on most of those farms, we're going to be planting annual grasses, much like what we plant here on our farm, and diverse mixes and simple mixes, and evaluate which one is better at improving soil health. We do know that it's important that we understand that soil is an important part of a pasture-based livestock operation. It's a resource, and it can respond to management.